The modern world is built upon a promise that if you work hard and play by the rules, you can rise as far as your talents will take you. It is a vision of the level playing field, where success is a reflection of individual effort, and failure is simply a lack of it. But beneath this surface of opportunity lies a darker reality. The winners feel they have earned their fate, viewing their success as a badge of superior virtue, while the losers are left to feel that their plight is their own fault. In the Tyranny of Merit, the central argument is that the very idea of meritocracy has become toxic. It has created a meritocratic hubris among the elite, and a sense of humiliation among those left behind, eroding the social bonds required for a common life. Michael J. Sandel, a political philosopher at Harvard University, has spent decades examining the intersection of ethics and public life. Known for his ability to translate complex moral dilemmas into the language of the town square, Sandel is uniquely positioned to dissect how our obsession with smartness has replaced our pursuit of the common good. The ladder of success has been climbed, but in the process, the ground beneath it has begun to crumble. In the spring of 2019, a federal investigation pulled back the curtain on a massive cheating scandal at several elite American universities. Wealthy parents were caught buying their children's way into schools like Yale and Stanford, fixing SAT scores, and bribing athletic coaches. The public reaction was one of pure, unadulterated outrage. But the nature of that anger reveals something profound about our social fabric. The fury wasn't just about the illegality. It was about the violation of a sacred modern belief, that in a fair society, those who reach the top should do so on their own steam. We've come to view the admissions letter from a prestigious university as the ultimate certificate of worth. It's the moment a young person is told they've made it because they deserve it. This is the heart of the meritocratic promise. We tell our children that if they possess the talent and the drive, the gates will open. We've turned the college degree into the primary arbiter of social honor, and the only credible path to a dignified life. But look closer at the side door that those wealthy parents exploited. It was a crude, illegal version of the back door that's perfectly legal. The massive donations, the legacy preferences, the expensive tutors that give the affluent a massive head start. Even if we could somehow remove the cheating and make the competition perfectly fair, we're left with a deeper, more troubling question. Is a society where the winners believe they've earned everything and the losers believe they've deserved nothing actually a just society? This intense focus on getting in has turned the adolescent years of the professional class into a high-stakes competitive marathon. It has bred a generation of excellent sheep, stressed and anxious, convinced that their value as human beings is tied to their GPA. Meanwhile, it has sent a devastating message to those without a 4-year degree, that your work is less valuable and your voice matters less in the public square. The scandal was a symptom of a much larger shift. Over the last 4 decades, the divide between winners and losers has deepened, and the winners have lost the ability to see the luck and grace that helped them along the way. We've moved from a society that asks, how can we thrive together, to one that asks, how high can I climb? By turning success into a matter of personal merit, we haven't just created an unequal society. We've created a one. And that judgment is tearing the very idea of a common good apart. We used to believe that success was a matter of luck, or perhaps a gift of grace. Today we're told a different story. We're told that if you work hard and play by the rules, you'll rise as far as your talents will take you. It sounds like the ultimate promise of justice. But look closer at the cracks in our society. That promise has become a trap. Imagine a social ladder where the rungs are moving further and further apart. When we tell people they deserve their success, we give them something more potent than wealth. We give them hubris. The winners start to believe their prosperity is their own doing, a reflection of their superior virtue. They look down at those below them, not with the empathy of someone who got lucky, but with the cold gaze of someone who believes they've earned every bit of their status. This creates a toxic flip side for those left behind. In a world where we claim everyone has an equal chance, failure isn't just bad luck. It's a judgment. If you didn't make it, the system tells you that you have no one to blame but yourself. This is the sting of humiliation. It's the sense that the winners don't just have more money, they think they're better people. We've watched our political language shift away from right and wrong, or just and unjust. Instead, we talk about smart versus dumb. We've replaced the dignity of work with the prestige of a degree. This credentialism has become the last acceptable prejudice. We've built a wall out of diplomas, and we use it to justify why some people matter more than others. The social bond is fraying because we've lost the common in the common good. We've turned our economy into a competitive race where the prize is the right to look down on the losers. We're no longer citizens sharing a project. We're rivals in a contest for merit. This isn't just a policy failure. It's a moral crisis. We have to ask ourselves, what happens to a democracy when half the population feels that the elites look at them with contempt? The answer is already unfolding in our streets and at our ballot boxes. But to understand how we fix it, we have to look at the very thing we've been taught to worship, the idea of the level playing field. We tell ourselves a story about the world that feels like common sense. It's the story of the ladder. If you have the talent and if you work hard, you will climb. We call this meritocracy. It sounds fair. It sounds just. But beneath the surface of this modern ideal lies a much older, darker logic. We've turned success into a verdict on our character. We think we live in a secular age, but our politics are haunted by ghosts. Centuries ago, the question wasn't about who got into Harvard. It was about who got into heaven. The early providential view was simple. God rewards the righteous and punishes the wicked. If you were healthy and wealthy, it was a sign of divine favor. If you suffered, you must have sinned. The Protestant Reformation tried to break this link. Martin Luther and John Calvin insisted that we cannot earn our way into God's good graces. Salvation is a gift, not a paycheck. They wanted to humble the successful. They wanted to remind the powerful that their status was a matter of luck or grace, not merit. But human nature couldn't sit still with that uncertainty. It's hard to live in a world where your fate is out of your hands. So the logic flipped. People began to look for signs of their salvation. They found those signs in their work ethic. They decided that if they were disciplined, productive, and prosperous, they were likely among the elect. Eventually, we stopped talking about God, but we kept the judgment. We stripped away the theology and left the work ethic bare. This is how the Protestant ethic became the spirit of capitalism. Success shifted from being a mysterious blessing to being a deserved reward. We stopped saying, "Thank God," and started saying, "I did this." Listen to the way our leaders speak. They tell us that those who work hard and play by the rules deserve to rise. It sounds like an invitation, but it's actually a trap. If success is evidence of your virtue, then failure is evidence of your vice. If the winners are great because they are good, then the losers must be low because they are bad. This is the moral history of our current divide. When we tell the winners they earned everything they have, we validate their hubris. We give them permission to look down on those beneath them. And we tell those who struggle that their plight is their own fault. We've turned the economy into a courtroom, and the verdict is increasingly cruel. We've created a world where the common good has been replaced by getting ahead. We've forgotten that our talents are not entirely our own doing. We are now living with the consequences of a society that has lost its sense of gratitude and replaced it with a sense of entitlement. The ladder isn't just a tool for climbing anymore. It's a measure of a person's worth. And as the rungs move further apart, the weight of being left behind becomes more than just a financial burden. It becomes a moral one. For decades, we've been told a story that sounds like the ultimate promise of freedom. It's a simple phrase repeated by politicians of every stripe. You can make it if you try. It's the rhetoric of rising. It suggests that if we just level the playing field, if we remove the barriers of prejudice and provide equal opportunity, then your place in society will finally reflect your talent and your effort. But look closer. That same promise carries a quiet, devastating flip side. If you don't rise, the fault must be yours. This is the hidden cruelty of the meritocratic faith. It offers dignity to the winners, but it serves shame to the losers. In this system, failure isn't just a streak of bad luck, it's a moral verdict. To fall behind is to admit defeat twice, once in the economy and again in the court of self-respect. We see this most clearly in the way our language has shifted. We no longer talk about working-class people with neutral respect. Instead, we use terms like low-skilled or the left behind. These aren't just descriptions, they are judgments. We've turned the college credential into a gatekeeper for human honor, creating a society where the smart feel entitled to rule and the uneducated feel humiliated. The winners of this race fall into meritocratic hubris. They look at their elite diplomas and their six-figure salaries and tell themselves they earned it all on their own. They forget the luck of their birth, the teachers who helped them, or the community that sustained them. They believe their success is a reflection of their superior virtue. The rhetoric of rising was supposed to be the antidote to the old aristocracies of blood and title. We thought we were breaking the chains of the past. But instead, we've built something subtler and perhaps more wounding, a social order that claims to be open, yet quietly judges the majority of its citizens as unworthy of honor. We are left with a haunting question. Can we find a way to value a person that doesn't depend on where they stand on the ladder? Or are we condemned to keep measuring human worth by the height of the climb? Have you noticed it? The prejudice we never talk about anymore. For decades, we fought to call out bias wherever we find it. Racism, sexism, homophobia, and we should be proud of that progress. But while we were closing those doors, we left one wide open. We've elevated it. We've even started to celebrate it. It's credentialism, the last acceptable prejudice. Think about the way we talk now. We don't just describe what someone does. We signal their value through their education. We categorize the world into college-educated voters versus non-college voters. We use the label low-skilled worker as if it's a neutral, scientific fact. But it isn't neutral. It's a judgment. It's a quiet, corrosive moral verdict that says some people worked hard enough to deserve respect, and others didn't. We've turned the college degree into more than a credential. It's become a ticket to dignity, a certificate of human personhood. Without one, the world treats you as if you failed a test of character. We see this in the quiet condescension of social circles. We see it in hiring practices that demand a 4-year degree for jobs that never required them. It's a system that sorts us into the smart, who feel entitled to rule, and the uneducated, who are made to feel humiliated. This is the hubris of the meritocracy. When you're told your diploma proves you're special, you start to believe your success is entirely your own virtue. You forget the luck of your birth or the community that sustained you. You start to believe you owe nothing to those below you because, in your eyes, they simply chose not to rise. We have to ask a harder question than, how do we get more people to college? We have to ask why we ever let a piece of paper determine human dignity in the first place. Can we imagine a society that honors work itself, treating a hospital orderly and a hospital administrator as equally deserving of respect? Or are we trapped on a ladder where the only way to matter is to keep climbing? We like to think we live in an era of secular logic. Yet our modern view of success is haunted by an ancient ghost. We tell ourselves that if you work hard and play by the rules, you'll rise. It's a comforting idea. It suggests the world is fair. But look closer, and you'll see that this meritocratic faith has a dark underside. It transforms success into a badge of virtue, and failure into a sign of moral decay. For centuries, humans wrestled with a theological dilemma. Do we earn our way into heaven through good works? Or is grace a gift we can't control? The early Puritans struggled with this tension. They believed salvation was a gift from God, but they looked for signs of that gift in their worldly prosperity. If you were wealthy and successful, it wasn't just luck. It was evidence that you were one of the elect. Today, we've stripped away the God, but we've kept the judgment. We've replaced the elect with the talented. When we say that those who land on top deserve their prize, we're making a moral claim. We're saying their bank accounts are a reflection of their character. This is the success ethic. It tells the winners they earned their destiny, and it tells the losers that their plight is their own fault. This mindset creates a unique kind of cruelty. In an older, more rigid class system, the peasant knew he was poor because of the accident of birth. He was oppressed, but he wasn't necessarily lesser. In a perfect meritocracy, the person at the bottom can't even claim the dignity of bad luck. They are told they had the same chance as everyone else. Their failure isn't just a lack of money. It's a lack of talent or grit. It is a verdict on their soul. We see this most clearly in the way we talk about the smart. We've turned educational credentials into the primary gatekeeper of human value. Our politics has become a battle between the credentialed and the uncredentialed. We no longer talk about justice or the common good. We talk about opportunity. But opportunity is a hollow promise if the starting line is 1,000 miles apart, and the finish line only honors a specific kind of cognitive labor. This shift has poisoned our social bond. It breeds hubris among the winners, a meritocratic hubris that makes them forget the luck, the teachers, and the community that carried them. And for those left behind, it breeds a resentment that is as much about dignity as it is about economics. They aren't just struggling to pay the bills. They're struggling against a culture that views them as obsolete. When we turn success into a moral category, we lose the ability to see ourselves as members of a shared project. We stop being citizens and start being competitors. We have to ask ourselves, what happens to a society when the winners believe they owe nothing to the losers, and the losers believe the system is rigged to humiliate them? Next, we must examine how this culture of making it has turned our elite universities into pressure cookers, and what that cost is doing to the very children who win the race. Walk through the gates of an elite college. What do you see? Not a place to learn, not a place to explore. You see a filter, a high-stakes funnel that decides who belongs at the top and who gets left behind. For decades, we've told everyone the same thing. Go to college and you'll earn a decent life. The diploma became more than a certificate. It became proof of worth, a ticket into the winning class. But in doing that, we transformed higher education. From a place meant to broaden minds, we made it a machine for social ranking. It's supposed to be fair. It's supposed to find talent wherever it hides. But the numbers tell a different story. At the most prestigious schools, more students come from the wealthiest 1% than from the entire bottom half of the country combined. The latter isn't lifting anyone. It's confirming what was already true. The people at the top were already there. And the harm isn't only to those left out. The winners are squeezed too. Walk onto any elite campus and you'll see a generation trapped in a meritocratic squeeze. They've been jumping through hoops since they were toddlers. They're not explorers, they're high-achieving hoop jumpers. They carry anxiety like a shadow. Fear of failure presses down on every step. Because they've struggled so hard to win, they feel entitled to their place. They believe they owe nothing to the rest of society. Hubris grows quietly alongside stress and exhaustion. Meanwhile, the ones without the degree feel the sting of humiliation. Their work, the work that keeps our cities running, that feeds and builds and cares, is labeled less valuable, less smart, less worthy. The degree becomes a weapon of exclusion, and the promise of opportunity turns hollow. We've built a credentialist tyranny, a sorting machine that measures moral worth in grades and test scores. When people see the game is rigged to favor the already favored, it breeds a justified rage. Anger at a system that says, try harder, while the doors remain locked. If the university is just a sorting machine for the global economy, the idea of the common good disappears. We stop being a community and start being a collection of winners and losers. We have to ask, what happens when the ladder we're all climbing turns out to be a treadmill? Next, we have to look at the work itself. Every task carries a moral weight, yet we've forgotten how to honor it. There's a question we don't ask enough. What makes work worth doing? Not what pays well, not what carries prestige, but what makes it valuable to society, worthy of respect, deserving recognition? We've lost the ability to answer this honestly. Somewhere along the way, we started measuring work by what the market will pay. Earn millions, your work must matter. Earn minimum wage, maybe you should have studied harder. But during the pandemic, we saw who was actually essential. Not hedge fund managers, not consultants, grocery store workers, delivery drivers, nurses, and janitors, people stocking shelves at 3 a.m. so the rest of us could eat. Many couldn't miss a paycheck. And yet, when everything fell apart, we realized we couldn't function without them. The market pays based on scarcity and bargaining power, not social contribution. A CEO might earn 500 times a home health aide, but is their contribution to human welfare 500 times greater? It's also about dignity. Whose work we see and whose we ignore. Consider care work, looking after children, tending the elderly, helping the sick. Families did it for free, usually women. Then, as women entered the workforce, someone else had to care. Paid poorly, often immigrant women of color. But the work is unchanged. It requires patience, attention, skill. Yet society values it differently. One is priceless. The other barely earns a living wage. This pattern repeats. Teaching, nursing, social work, essential. Everyone knows it. But it doesn't pay like finance or tech. It carries less prestige. Why? We can't measure output easily. A good teacher's impact shows years later. The work is relational, emotional, human. The market punishes that. It rewards scale and efficiency, not empathy. You can't automate genuine care. Millions of people contribute to their communities, follow the rules, and the market tells them their work doesn't matter. Not enough to buy health insurance, save for retirement, send kids to college. The meritocratic story makes it worse. Income equals contribution. If you earn little, you must not contribute much. But we know that's false. Firefighters, teachers, home health aides, they're there because the work matters, because someone has to do it, because it needs doing. Can we build an economy that recognizes this? Not with applause or banners calling people heroes, with genuine respect, decent pay, understanding that contribution isn't always measured in profit. Much of what the market rewards doesn't benefit human welfare. Some actively harms it. Financial engineers who crash economies, marketing executives who sell harmful products. Well-paid, often respected, but not contributing to the common good. We've lost the language to recognize this. Some work, however lucrative, isn't worthy of respect. Other work, however poorly paid, deserves our deepest gratitude. During the pandemic, we glimpsed this truth. Essential workers kept society alive. The applause stopped, hazard pay ended, but the lesson remains. The challenge now? Build a society that values work that contributes to human flourishing. Not only work that makes profit or requires a degree, but all work serving the common good. Stop assuming market value reflects social value. Create pathways to dignity for everyone who contributes, not just the top of the meritocratic ladder. The tyranny of merit says worth depends on achievement, income, or status. The dignity of work says contribution comes in many forms. The person who cares for your aging parent deserves as much respect as the person managing a hedge fund.